Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats your boat. So today I'm going to be reviewing Matlock Season 1, Episode 8. So it opens up with Maddie Matlock with her grandson Alfie. He's got a mock trial at school, so I feel like that's kind of a proud grandma moment because she's a lawyer and her grandson's going to be involved in this mock trial. So of course, she's got it on her schedule. She's told Olympia she has a doctor's appointment because she doesn't want to miss it. So I kind of like that. Any scenes you can see with Alfie, I love that. I love that bond he has with his grandparents, even the grandfather as well. Just the three of them. I just love that family bond. So you start out with that, and then you see the next scene where Olympia is dropping off her twins. So, and I, just talking about love seeing Alfie, I love seeing the twins because it looks like even though they're divorced, they're very happy. And, both of Jillian and Olympia love their kids. So I love seeing the twins as well. And she's dropping her twins off at school. And you can kind of tell she doesn't really get along with the other moms. It's called Mulberry Prep, and I just feel like it's kind of where the other moms are snooty. She's a working mom. A lot of stay-at-home moms, PTA moms, kind of have that friction or look down on working parents or divorced parents even. Not that that's all. PTA parents are all single moms or all stay-at-home parents, but you do kind of see that here. And one of the nannies kind of comes up to her and basically says, look, I was fired for something I didn't do. I need your help. And Olympia looks around and goes, okay, not here, right? Because I feel like she kind of shows there's a little bit of friction between her and the school or her and the other moms, which you find out later when she talks to Jillian that there is. So, basically, there is this website called Eyes from Afar, and I guess it snaps photos and uploads them anonymously. So that can be very telling, but there's always two sides to every story, right? When you see somebody grab somebody's arm, as soon as I saw that photo, I'm like, the kid was probably running out in the street and the nanny went to grab him, and now they're going to say he was abusing the child. So, there's always two sides to photos, in my opinion. Like, yes, you know what I mean? You see the photos, you come to a conclusion. But that was the first thing I saw, right? Because I believe this nanny, she's only talking to Olympia for a few minutes, but she looks scared. Like, you know what I mean? Not that she's trying to guilt and she's covering up the guilt. Like, I truly believed her. As soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, she was fired wrongly, but why would somebody post these photos? So there's that little mystery behind that. And then, of course, you have the little side story with Billy. You saw in the last episode, he proposes to his girlfriend of 8 years, and she breaks up with him. No, I'm not going to marry you. I should have done this a while ago. So Billy's kind of heartbroken. Sarah's trying to help out, trying to boost his spirits, but in the typical Sarah way, she's a little harsh, right? She's not a people's person. But some of the advice she gives him, I think, towards the end of the episode, he really is like, you're right. I'm not, my relationship is over with her. I can't let it ruin my professional career. So I like that. I feel like Sarah and Billy are getting over their own personal, boundaries there, and they're becoming friends. So I do like the way Sarah's development with her character is coming along on the show. But you go down to, and then you have the side story of Maddie going to Senior's computer, right? Because you saw at the end of the episode, she got the password. So she gets on his computer, she hits print, and then she realizes the printer in Senior's office is not where the paperwork is going to. So that fascinates me. I'm like, oh, of course, there's a printer room. It's a huge law firm. And then she goes in and it's like, it's so crowded. There's people rushing everywhere. So she finally finds out, who last printed, before her at that printer. And it was Olympia's secretary. So she feels like she's kind of stuck with Olympia all day because she's going to try to, get the folder and get her papers because it's like 10 or 11 pages that she printed. So that's kind of a side story where you kind of watch the folder go in her briefcase, and then you kind of follow Maddie trying to get it out of Olympia's briefcase. However, with her doing that, she does have to miss Alfie's mock trial, which is a little sad because I would have loved to see Alfie, even just for a few minutes, kind of do a mock trial at school. But she has to get that paperwork. I mean, if Olympia opens up that folder and sees this, then it's going to be like, why is this with my stuff? And that's going to raise a lot of questions. So even though she didn't want to miss the mock trial, she had to get that paperwork back because now it's with Olympia. So I feel like she didn't really have a choice. She kind of had to, or she was going to have a lot of explaining to do, so to speak. So getting back to the case, they kind of, there's a couple red herrings here. You find out the email that uploaded the photos was another mom, and that was a red herring. She didn't do it. And you find out another mom actually did it, Lacey. And they kind of figure it out as they're looking at the photos. So Maddie, goes to Olympia's apartment and hands her this teddy bear. And I'm like, nanny cam. Like it just, I don't know why, but I saw the teddy bear and that was the first thing I thought of. And then Lacey, one of the other moms, comes to her apartment. And you see the teddy bear in the corner. And I'm like, yep, she's recording this. So you find out, the other mom confesses like, yes, it was me. So she's having an affair and the park is right next to the hotel. So she thought this nanny watched her and, the other husband leave the hotel. In reality, the nanny didn't see a thing. But she was afraid she did. So she sent the photos from another mom's account to get her fired. And she's like, it's not a big deal. The nanny got fired. She'll just get a job somewhere else uptown. And, it is a big deal. This nanny has her own children. And her own children are, I think it's 3 and 5. So, yes, 5 and 3. Sorry, I wanted to check my notes. So, this is a big deal. She's a nanny to Miss Charlotte. And she takes her job seriously as a nanny. She sends her money home. She has a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that her mom is watching. And as soon as she has enough money, she's going to bring her kids over. So this is, it's always one of those, let's put it in perspective, right? Anytime I see cases or TV shows about these schools, you know what I mean? And they have these nannies. This is an expensive prep school, oh, well, whatever, it's just a nanny, she'll find another job. No, these are real people, and they are struggling just like everybody else. They have families. Like I said, she's got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and she's not even with them. They're out of the country. She's trying to make enough money to bring her own family over, and they're staying with her mom. So, I love my mom. I know there's a lot of grandparents out there, kind of like Maddie, who's raising Alfie in this show. It's a lot. It's a lot as a parent. It's a lot as a grandparent. Once you get older, your body doesn't snap back like it used to. So, her mom is taking care of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. That's a lot on her too. It's, she's away from her kids, and her mom is going out of her way to, and I know it's her grandkids, and she's probably doing it out of the love of her heart because this is her daughter's, kids, but it's a lot on everybody involved, right? So, it's one of those things where you throw a rock and there's a ripple effect. So that kind of irritated me when Lacey was like, yeah, so what? I got her fired. She'll get a job somewhere else. No, this is, stopped a track in her life of providing for her kids and bringing them over. So, she gets the nanny cam. Basically, Lacey admits to it and then tells Olympia, well, I'm going to deny it if you try to go public because I don't want anybody to know about my affair. Well, obviously she says, well, I got it all on camera. And then, so a happy ending, so to speak. I mean, Miss Charlotte goes to the nanny and says, "Hey, I'll give you your job back." She says, "I don't want my job back." She has enough money with the settlement, right? Because Lacey didn't want this story to get out, so she paid a nice settlement to the nanny, and now she has enough money to bring her kids over. So sometimes there's a blessing in disguise. The nanny was scared, her reputation was tainted. She got fired. She didn't know how she was going to provide for her children, in that other country. She wanted to bring them over. And then a blessing in disguise. She gets fired, but the settlement gives her enough money to bring her kids over and hopefully her mother as well. Because like I say, a grandmother taking care of two small children, I'm sure that's wearing on her. She wants to bring her mom over as well as a family. So I'm hoping that was enough to bring, like she mentioned, her family over and get another job. It's so precious spending time with little ones, grandkids, your own kids, family. Life's too short. So I love that happy ending. Olympia was able to get her to confess, get a nice settlement. She's able to bring her kids over. And, Maddie being Maddie, she figures out a way to get into Olympia's briefcase. Saves her from going into the school. I told you from the beginning, Olympia was kind of a hard nut to crack at the beginning of the series. She was very tough, but you understood why she was tough, right? She's a woman in this field. She divorced her husband, and her father-in-law or ex-father-in-law is Senior, who owns the company. So the three of them are partners. So, she has a reason to kind of be firm and have her guard up, right? That's probably one of the reasons how she got the way she was being firm and hard like that. So, but she has this soft side, and like I say, I like her and Jillian together. I feel like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? As much as I love Jillian and as much as I love him connecting with Olympia again, Senior, I feel like he's the owner. He makes millions, and I feel like he's kind of heartless, and I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Like we're going to see maybe Jillian, show some of those attributes. I hope not, because I really like him. I when they dropped the bombshell that he cheated on her, I was like, okay, so is this one of those, we're not going to put them together. We're kind of is it like a Ross and Rachel thing on Friends? Are they just going to get together and be broken up and get together and be broken up? I really liked them reconnecting, and now all of a sudden this is going to be a very difficult thing to get over. Olympia was letting her guard down, getting back together, and then he's like, "I cheated on you," and she's gonna have a hard time letting that go, as any woman would. No judgment. I'm not saying she needs to forgive him. I'm not saying she doesn't need to forgive him. It's just, it's different. Every situation, every woman feels differently about it. And the situation is different. Were they separated? They were going through a hard time, but they were still married. So, like I say, I could play devil's advocate. I could be on both sides of that argument. So, obviously that should, throws a little ripple in them getting back together. But, there was even one time when she was talking to Jillian, because Jillian was like, "You don't want to get involved. This is nanny drama. Like, you don't want to get involved with the moms at school." And Olympia's like, "Look, this is a legit case. She was fired wrongly. I want to pursue it." And I kind of commend Olympia for doing that. Like, Jillian, I like you, but no, she's not going to take a step down. She's going to do the right thing for justice. So I loved that Olympia pursued it. However, it did create more friction with the moms at school. But hey, when you're doing the right thing, you don't have to be liked. It is a lot easier to lie and have people like you, but to stand up for the truth, you might stand alone, but that's okay, because you're standing up for the truth. And if you have to stand up for the truth and be alone, so be it, be alone, because you can sleep at night. You're doing the right thing. You're standing up for justice, you're standing up for truth, and that needs to happen. Too many people nowadays are afraid, and they kind of just don't stand up for the truth. So I love that about Olympia. It's one of my favorite attributes that she has. So I love at the end too. You see Maddie confront Julie or apologize to him, and then she knocks the pens over. So I'm like, oh, Maddie. But at the same time, this is what, episode 8, and you know, at the end of every episode, there's going to be that surprise. There's going to be that aha moment, that attaboy Maddie, you know. So when I saw her do that, and then if you watch that scene closely, you'll see the pins get knocked over, and then for a split second, you don't see Maddie. Like, you see the pins, you see Jillian, but she disappears from the scene for a split second. And I'm like, okay, what did she do? Like, she dropped the pins off, knocked them off on purpose. What did she do, right? Because I noticed that for a split second, she did something. She put something on his desk. She messed with something. And you find out in the end, when she bought the Nanny Cam teddy bear, she also bought a kind of like a spy pen with a microphone, and the last scene is them all listening, so it worked. Like, she has a spy in Julian's office. She can hear everything that's going on. So I love that. In typical Matlock, like, oh no, she's clumsy, oh, she's trying to make a point and she knocks it over. She is amazing. I absolutely love this show because I love every time at the end, because I'm clumsy, right? Most people are, you know what I mean? So when I see her do things, I'm like, oh, or like when she's trying to make a point and then she's like, oh, I was trying to make a point, but I dropped this and I guess my point wasn't made. She does it all on purpose. So I love that about her. She is so put together. Kathy Bates does such an excellent job. So I absolutely love this episode. I hope you loved it too. This was kind of like the fall finale, so to speak. So new episodes will come in January, I hope. So I hope you enjoyed the review. And until next time, bye.